show had huge downloads. Like today was one of our big download days, and it was
the Sunday one. Oh
yeah, it was a big one. It's big.
I actually had. I mean, they might hear this if they tune in, but I had an awesome listener reach out to me on Instagram. I need to respond. I saw I was golfing, but they said they're going to be down there and they're going to play golf, and if I wanted them to get me one of those towels. So I thought it was pretty.
Nice. That's a good one right there. Yeah, the $50. 50.
I mean, I'll pay for it, obviously.
But, yeah. I know that. But that's a good listener to front that, though. That's funny.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a big front for sure. Yeah,
that's exactly it. So, hey, everybody, we are here on a Thursday night. What's up, Margie? I know. Cardinals just went down 5-0. Miggy got his 3,000th this afternoon. Pretty exciting for Detroit.
No, he didn't.
Didn't he? I thought he did.
No, so there's some controversy. So,
I didn't have the sound on. We were having dinner and they had all the TVs on. I could have swore they talked about his 3,000.
No, there was controversy. So he got intentionally walked on his last at bat of the game.
No.
I mean, it kind of made sense to the situation because it was a 1-0 game and it brought up a lefty versus lefty situation. So they walked Miggy, and then that guy ended up hitting like a double that scored 2 runs. We ended up winning 3-0, but nope. So he did not get 3,000.
I could have swore though that it showed him because again there was no sound on. I was at the restaurant with Pam, but did it not show him like walking off the field, like carrying his bat and everybody's high five? I guess because he was on base.
Because we won the game.
Dude, he was carrying a bat like he was taking it to Cooperstown. You know,
well, and that's why it was funny. Like, so they interviewed him yesterday, and he's like, "Hey, you're 1 hit away. How do you feel about that?" And like, he was just like, "We lost the game." Like,
yeah, it's
like so he was just like, "I don't care. Like, we lost the game. We should have won we should have won." He actually said a bad word that I can't repeat here, but but he said we lost the game, the bleeping game.
I did see he said he's gonna cry though when he gets 3,000, which I was like, respect.
I was just like hoping. I mean, you don't want someone to just like throw him an easy one in, you know, that's what happened to Jeter. I feel like, and that's why he had a homer for his 3,000th.
Yeah,
but his first at bat, his first hit was a home run. His 1,000th hit was a home run. His 2,000th hit was a home run.
He's getting a cookie.
So it's got to be a homer. Like,
dude, he's getting a cookie.
I don't know who the starter is. We're playing the Rockies. I'm glad the game is in Detroit, though.
I was in Colorado. Yeah.
If this would have been like moving day, like I would have been so mad about that intentional walk.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's good. Yeah.
The crowd, I mean, and it was a day game. There was nice weather. Like, man, like so many people called off work for the game. I'm sure, like. Oh, well, I'll get it tomorrow.
Man. That's a big deal. Yeah.
It is. Dude, 1,000 hits is huge, man.
Had me fooled, man, because PTI was showing all these times like he got it. I'm so happy he got it because I always I don't know why, but like when people get on the verge of that kind of stuff, I get so nervous, like something tragic would happen and like you'd end up with like 2,999. Yeah.
But last year was crazy because he was getting close, obviously. And so we had 2 countdowns at Comerica because he was reaching 500 homers too. So he hit 500 homers. But he was still like 23 some hits away at the end of the year. So, I mean, we knew he was going to get it this year, but it would have been nice if we would have done it all last year.
Yeah. Yachty needs 2 RBIs to get to 1,000. So we're trying to get there. And then, of course, Pujols needs.
Pujols is close to what? Is it 600 homers?
700.
700. Okay.
He needs, I think, 20. I mean, it's
in the teens. Isn't it like 19, I thought?
It's like 21.
Okay.
I think it's like in the lower. But I mean, it's a lot.
That's a lot of homers.
I mean, dude's old.
You got the DH now, though. So.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of games like Cincinnati and Wrigley. Oh,
it is 19.
Marks is 19. Okay, 19. I mean, Cincinnati's just you hit a fly ball and it's out there. Wrigley, if the wind's blown out. St. Louis is a fair park. Pittsburgh's pretty fair. We'll see. Obviously, we go to Colorado.
Great American Ballpark is
that's a joke.
Yeah,
I hate that ballpark.
I've been there. It's one of like 3 parks I've been to.
It's not fair.
It's weird. I've been to Great American and I've been to PNC with Steve and Pam once. It was pretty awesome.
We're doing
that's a sweet ballpark.
We're doing the National League Central tour.
I know I'm doing the NL Central, and I've been to Detroit, obviously. So there's the AL Central.
American League Central, exactly. That's awesome.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've been to any other ballparks. It's kind of lame. It's just those 3.
I've only been. I've been to Busch 2, Busch 3. I've been to the K in Kansas City. I've been to the Vet, the old Vet in Philadelphia for opening day when my dad's buddy pitched for the Phillies. Is that it? Oh, Wrigley. I took batting practice at Wrigley on the field. That was pretty sweet. I did. I was young. I don't hardly remember. I was 10.
I've ran through Angel Stadium in Anaheim.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to Dodger Stadium. Damn, I can't wait for that. Did you see the Main Street Electrical Parade? Oh my! I haven't watched it. I've just seen like pictures. Like I'm not watching stuff. I'm not spoiled. I mean, I've seen the parade a million times.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to get burned out on stuff.
So I'll have to talk to you, but I think we're in. I think we set some California dates. So I think even after we record tonight, we might be looking at purchasing the airfare.
Boom! It's gonna be epic. Epic. Oh yeah. I cannot wait. Oh my God. I'm gonna wait till July. I'm so
It'll be easy, man. It's gonna be easy, I think.
I know, but I mean, I've not looked forward to a trip like this in forever. I was looking at my airfare tonight. Like I was just looking like, okay, we connect in Denver. We take off at 10 or 11.
I'm gonna beat you there. It's funny, like you've been planning this whole thing, and then I'm just gonna swoop in and I'm gonna beat you there.
It's crazy though that we take off at 11 something in the morning and we get there at like 3:10 in the afternoon.
I know. Well, it sucks on the way home, especially.
I know it does. I know. It's like you too. You're worse.
Like the flight I'm looking to come back is like 9:55 in the morning, and I land at 5 in the afternoon.
We don't land until 7 in the night.
Yeah,
and we take off at like 11. No, we take off at 10.
Yeah,
brutal.
You have one extra. I mean, you don't have to. It's 2 hours for you at least. I mean,
yep,
a lot.
I mean,
that's the thing, man. You're going to be bouncing off the walls like that first morning. Like, I'll never forget our first trip to Disneyland. Like, it's like 4 a.m. and Emily is awake.
I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day. This is 7 days a week. Every day I get up at 5.
Yeah. So you're going to be up at 3. That's why it's so easy to rope drop there.
Because I'll be so ready. Because I'll be, I can't wait to get there. Like, I mean, I am dying. I got to be busted down the walls. I'm like,
our thing is normally like we'll go to Starbucks and get like a breakfast, like a bread or some sort, get a drink, and then just take it. And then we're just standing there for an hour for the park to open because like we're awake, there's nothing else to do. So we get there so early.
I can't wait. Okay, so let's talk about your trip. So it's going to be 2080. I'm trying to think if there's anything that Monday. Let me think. So, wait, will I be? Yeah, I will be there. Wait, so this Monday? Yes, this will be when I'm down there. Okay.
Do you need another one for then the following Monday?
I'm doing one the night before I leave. That Wednesday. Okay. This coming Wednesday night, I'm doing one. So that'll be for the next one. So. And then I'm going to do 2 shows Monday, like normal, for next week. And 2 shows Tuesday. I'm going to send out a group text to Pam, Ricky, and I'm going to include you.
Okay.
So if nobody, if
no one responds,
please jump in Tuesday and we'll get those jammed out quick. All right. So, okay, I'm going to not have any notes. This is great. This is the easiest kind. All right, here we go. This is going to be funny at the beginning. I have something to say. This is a great intro. Here we go.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. Welcome to episode 2080 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope your week is already awesome. Mine is. I'm down at Walt Disney World and we're recording this one just a bit early so you don't miss your Disney content, your trip report. It has to be here to kick off the week. And we've got a good one for you here. We're going to have a good time today, heading back just about a month or so back to Spring Surprise. We're not going to talk Run Disney. It's still a little fresh for too many of us, but we are going to talk about the other stuff from the Spring Surprise weekend with your friend and mine. We're heading up to the Mitten. He's fresh off the golf course from a uniquely 12-hole golf course, by the way. Your friend of mine, Scott Gardner. Scott, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, Mike. Happy Monday. Thanks for having me back to talk about our epic spring break trip that we just had. But yeah, just got done playing not 9, not 18, 12 holes. That's right. There's an awesome golf course that's like less than 2 miles away from my house. That is the perfect after work round. Sometimes you might not have enough time to get an 18. 9's just not enough. So why not have a 12-hole course? It's awesome.
This is the evolution of sports in America, right? They say baseball's too slow. We got to speed it up. We got to put a pitch, pitch counter and all that stuff. I mean, this is going to be the evolution of golf.
Yeah, it's weird when you make the turn on the 6th hole after the 6th hole.
Okay, I got to promise our listeners one thing on this show today. Okay, because we're recording this one a bit early because obviously I am down at Walt Disney World wrapping up the summit. Hopefully we're coming home with a gigantic trophy. Here's the funny thing is when you go home this weekend from down in Florida, you will see folks carrying through like in the carry-on, like where you go through security at MCO. There will be gigantic trophies that people are carrying onto planes. It is hilarious. I mean, they're as big as some of these girls. I hope we get to have that problem and carry one of those home, but we'll see. I don't know, but I'm down there. I'm hanging out for just a couple more days. I'm meeting up with somebody you might know from the podcast. Her name's Pam Forrester, and we're going to be providing some pretty awesome coverage this week. So stay tuned on the social media. Be our guest, Mike, and we'll be covering some stuff you might want to know about. We talked about some 80s music. It might be associated with that. So stay here with us. I'm down there and hanging out till Saturday. So we'll be having that. Okay. But here's the thing we're not going to do. Promise you. We are not going to talk about anything that could happen in the future and say it's going to be awesome. Right? We're not doing it this time.
Yeah. We kind of have to get away from talking about easy registrations, easy things that are going to happen. It's going to be easy to get a fast pass. Genie Plus is going to be easy, whatever the example is. Mm-hmm. Nope, I can't talk about the future anymore. I've been banned at least for a half a year.
Try a lifetime. I mean,
lifetime ban. Okay.
I've banned myself because when I went back to listen to that after that whole fiasco at the marathon weekend registration, I just, that was a moment out of the 14 plus years we've done the show. I was like, whew, we've missed some things, but man, I mean, can't miss
no one could predict that.
Nobody.
The Disney site wasn't going to work for 3 hours or 2.5 hours. It was madness.
It was, but let's get to the good stuff. I mean, that's too fresh and too, it hurts too much still. So you went down. Now you didn't just go for the spring surprise weekend. A lot of us went down, you go on Thursday, Friday, go to the expo, grab your bibs, grab your shirts, run the races. And then you're out of there on Monday. You get back, you kind of just make a long weekend out of it, but you made it your spring break trip because it was Emily's spring break. So you made a vacation out of the entire thing, right?
Yeah, we absolutely did. So having a freshman in high school now, it's not as easy when she was in 3rd or 4th grade to pull her out of school for a week and come down, like lots of homework, she's a really good student, so she hates falling behind. So our new plan is to take advantage of, school holidays, things like that. So spring break led up to springtime surprise. I was like, boom, there it is. That's our trip right there. So we can have some fun for a week and then cap it off with the Run Disney event was perfect for us. And go ahead.
No, so you guys did a split stay on this one once you figured out the schedule that this was going to work out with Emily's schools. And I still can't believe she's a freshman. I know my daughter's going into high school in the fall. Yeah. And I always forget Emily's a year ahead of her in school. We're going to both have kids in young. I know. My youngest is going to be in high school in years.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know what happened, Mike. Well, think about the podcast. It's 14 years old. That's what happened.
Oh my goodness. When you said that, I'm like, yeah, high school kid. Wait, what? Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I still think elementary school, but yeah. So you guys did a split though. Now tell us how you guys came up with the plan. You did a Pop Saratoga split. How'd that come out?
So you heard this a million times from me and other listeners. It's the running out of DVC points is what happened.
Yes.
So we wanted a 1-bedroom, as our family, as Emily's getting older, like the studios are still really nice value for us, but we'd like that extra space, have a separate bedroom. We love having the, the refrigerator and like the kitchen. You've hung out with us in villas, we like to do things in there. So we wanted to do a 1-bedroom, which costs like double the DVC points, basically. So we kind of worked our way backwards, right? We're like, okay, the trip is going to end the day after the springtime surprise. How many days can we get consecutively on DVC points with what we have allotted? It was 6. All right. So how do we? Let's find somewhere else to do the front end of the stay. And there's many great options. There's deluxes, there's moderates, but for a cost savings, because we have a lot of signature dining that was planned this trip, lots of expenses. It was a 10-night stay, so it's going to add up quick. So we decided to go with Pop Century, which you can't go wrong there. It's awesome.
And the funny thing is, you guys obviously had Saratoga on the back end of this, which is a deluxe resort, DVC resort right there across the water from Disney Springs. Great location, as far as a lot of amenities there. But you guys really kind of made the most out of Pop Century too. A lot of folks think of Pop Century and the values in general as a place to crash, a place to sleep, a place to shower. But I noticed, because again, you guys went down so early, and I was going that next weekend for the race, but we're good buds. So I like watch you on Find My Friends. We see each other on that. And you're always texting me like, I'm having, thing of crackers while I'm working here in the office, and you're, at Olivia's having a better, killing me the whole time, like for the 7 days before I can get down there. But you guys were actually, swimming every day at Pop Century. So did it work out? I mean, did Pop meet what you guys needed for those first 5 or 6 days?
Yep. Pop was perfect for us. Yeah, we just did exactly that. We just love, I think everyone's kind of heard me talk about this before. We just love that pool time, that downtime, that chill time. But I'll tell you, so it was spring break for Emily. It was spring break for a lot of schools. So, right. And I even knew people from work that were down there for bands and such, like performing on Main Street or doing whatever. So I knew some band parents outside of our school that were going to be down there, and the arts were all over at Pop Century. We'd see the teenagers just kind of taking over the pool sometimes, which is fine. And, it's their spring break. They're supposed to have fun too, right? And that's what's kind of fun about Pop. We're just kind of back playing like our card games that we like to play, just kind of observing, watching the others have a good time too, all the teenagers. So we definitely took advantage of the pools, but they were very busy for sure.
Okay. Well, let's talk crowds here for a second. So you guys, obviously annual pass holders. How were the crowds in the theme parks? Because you said it felt like spring break down there. It felt like a lot of people were on spring break the week you were there. Which I believe that was a pretty popular week kind of nationwide, as I kind of remember the schedule. I mean, you guys obviously have ridden everything a million times. It's not like you have to rope drop and see everything till 10 o'clock at night, but you have perspective. How did it feel in the parks?
It was crowded. So yeah. And you just made it a point, like we don't have to be rope dropping. We don't have to be there, for 7-8 hours a day, like in the parks. But we still did some of that stuff because it was vacation. We wanted to, we've done a lot of these Run Disney weekend trips where we haven't spent much time in the parks. All about that, or a lot of our listeners know too. Those are business trips when you're doing Run Disney. Basically, you might step in the park for a couple of hours, but you might not be doing much. So we wanted to try to do some more attractions this trip. So we actually did Genie Plus a couple of days. We actually did it on our first full day. So we had our travel day. Then our next day was Hollywood Studios. And we had a fun time doing it, like we were able to get Slinky Dog like right off the bat. Couldn't purchase Rise of the Resistance. It's almost like you have to decide, do you want to grab Slinky Dog on your Genie Plus or try to purchase Rise, because both of those are gone like instantly, it seems like at 7 a.m. So we went for Slinky Dog, and then we rope dropped Rise of the Resistance, which I think you did over Marathon, and it wasn't that bad really. We got like, it was a 40-minute wait, which isn't terrible, right?
No, I waited over 90 minutes over Marathon.
Did you?
Okay. And I was there like 25 minutes before the park opened even.
Because I did that. So that's another thing. So Hollywood Studio, all the parks are doing like those 30-minute extra magic hours or whatever, right? Yeah. So we got there early, and I tell you, Hollywood Studios does it right. So they hold everyone at the turnstiles that's not a park guest. So you kind of like can bypass everyone that's waiting to get in.
Yep.
To like scan your magic band, and we just bypass them all. We're like Magic Kingdom, because there's not enough space, right? So they bring everyone in, so that like slows you down because you're entering with all other guests, and then eventually you can get in, right? I mean, you just have to like get to the front of Main Street and go to the right toward Tomorrowland. But at Hollywood Studios, that worked out so nice because you could just get in front of everyone that was trying to get in, if that makes sense.
So, well, you were on Genie Plus that day at the studios, and what I'm hearing, and again, and this is kind of a crazy thing, I have yet to use Genie Plus because, like you said, I've really only been down for race weekends, and I've been solo, and I'm totally fine on a race weekend, exactly like you said, is popping into a park, grabbing a snack, and doing minor attractions. I'm cool with riding the People Mover, going on Carousel of Progress. Oh, wait, Winnie the Pooh has a short line, and I'll go. do Pirates because it's a 25-minute line. I don't care, you know. So I don't really have to be there, and I don't feel like spending $15 because I'm only going to be in the park 3 or 4 hours. But you were there full days, and I'm going to do this in Disneyland. I have it for all of my tickets. Again, I went all in. Like I'm doing it big. Again, it's like the first time I went to Walt Disney World. You know, it's like at first, like that once in a lifetime trip. That's how I'm treating my Disneyland trip, right? I bought 5-day Park Hoppers, Genie Plus. I'm going to do a dining package. I can't wait. Like I'm doing it that way, and it's shifted because I go to Walt Disney World so much. But the studios is what I always hear can be a challenge because of just how the logistics of the park work with Genie Plus. But you found it to work out where you got enough attractions. You felt it was okay, or
yeah. I mean, we didn't get a ton, Mike, but it felt like we still got to do the main things. Like we did Slinky Dog, we did Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and we did Rise, and then we might have used. I think we did like Toy Story Mania. So I mean, we got a few things on it. The problem is, if you're going for the headliners, which when you think about Hollywood Studios, it's mostly headliners outside of like Muppets, which you're never really going to need to use Genie Plus for, right? Or Star Tours, which like that line is, if you open the app, it's never really more than like 20 or 30 minutes. I mean, sure, you can save a little bit of time by getting a fast pass there. But yeah, those headliners just go quick at Hollywood Studios. So you're lucky if you can get like a couple of them. But the headliners are so great at Hollywood Studios, it felt worth it to save the time. It really did because it was so crowded.
Good points. And we get so much to talk about, so I want to make sure we hit all this. We're going to kind of bounce all over the place. Let's talk Saratoga though for a second so we can kind of wrap up the resort section of the show. You guys went over there second half of the trip, stayed in that 1 bedroom. You guys liked it. I know that you also used that time you were at Disney Springs a lot, as I recall. This was while you were doing the races. One thing I wanted to ask you about, just for the runners specifically, how was transportation going to the races from Saratoga? Because I don't think a lot of runners stay at Saratoga, for race weekends. Usually it's like Epcot Air Resort, Pop Century, Value, stuff like that. It's kind of an outlier to be at Saratoga.
It was really smooth for a Run Disney perspective outside of the first night, the 5K, but everyone had a disaster. For those that don't know, there was some bad weather. It was the return of the first night race in multiple years. And then of course we ran into weather issues.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's why they stopped doing them. Right.
And it was inconsistent. Like some resorts were sending buses, but Saratoga was not, because they might have called the race. So they didn't want to send buses if they weren't needed. So there are some issues there on the first night, but everyone got there, right? And then the next 2 days were just smooth sailing. So it's funny, the pickup. This is my first race weekend staying at Saratoga myself. So like I know Saratoga pretty well, but I didn't know the bus situation 100%. So I'm staying in the grandstand and it's a night race. So I walk over to the bus station. I got my race bib on, my signature look, my golf polo and shorts.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing Magic Kingdom buses come by, Epcot, people getting on, and I'm the only person in a race bib. I'm like, this doesn't feel right. Like, are the buses not coming here?
One of these things isn't like the other.
Exactly. So like I'm panicking now because I got there like 15 minutes early. Like, well, it's easy to wait for the bus on a night race because I'm already awake.
Right.
Side note, I was at Disney Springs like an hour before, like having a beer and some dessert, like not typical.
And that's the danger of night races, by the way. You don't know, don't know when to stop because you have a race later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because we had Turf Club and then that ended early. Then we had like this weird 2-hour window. I'm like, let's go to Disney Springs. So we took the boat over there, and then it was
only
crazy.
5K. I can have a beer.
Exactly. That's kind of what it was. So then I'm freaking out, like, where are the buses? So I'm at the grandstand, which is somewhat close to like the main lobby. I'm like, well, I'm just going to go to like the lobby area, see what the transportation sign says. And then sure enough, that's where they're picking up, is by the community center, like on that kind of main drag. Cause it was easy to find. You found like 200 people waiting to get on a bus. So I'm like, oh, that's where I'm supposed to be. But it was smooth. Saratoga does share resort transportation with Old Key West, since they're right by each other. So for a Run Disney race, the pickups are, they're not going to come with a whole bunch of people from Old Key West to start. But when you return from a race, the first stop will be Old Key West.
That's good to know, though. It's good to. So one other thing I want to add. Actually, you shared this story with me, as I recall. I think it was for Spring Surprise. Maybe it had to have been. And I had no idea about this, but you said, well, maybe it was from Marathon when you were staying somewhere else, but did not Saratoga, like the cast members at Saratoga, when you got back after the races, kind of like rally the runners and celebrate the runners as you got off the buses? And you saw this at another resort too. So
you're spot on. Yep.
We were saying maybe the managers at the resorts get some kind of a budget.
So I think it is like a manager thing. They must have like a maybe like they choose to put a budget in for whatever. So the two that I'm well aware of is Saratoga. You know, they have someone out there like clapping. They were giving beads away.
That's awesome.
Speaking of beads, that you feel like that's more of a Port Orleans thing, right?
Yeah.
Riverside over Marathon weekend, absolutely nothing. But you go over the French Quarter, they had a DJ going. They had like, you know how they have like those like little photo things. Like actually, Old Key West had this too when we went to Olivia's.
Oh yeah. Like hold the frame.
Yeah, they had like the photo frames, but they have a DJ going, like doing all this stuff, like cheering you on. So French Quarter was awesome, and we were at Riverside for Marathon weekend, so we happened to go over there a few times to get beignets afterwards. You know, how could you not?
Yes.
And then then we were greeted by cast members. So that's kind of interesting. So I wonder if it's like a manager discretion on how they do that, which I think is cool. I wish more resorts did it.
Absolutely. I think that's the kind of thing that as a runner, you're not expecting when you get off the bus, but you're going to go home and tell 20 people about. Like when you told me about that, I'm like, I didn't get anything like that when I got back to pop, you know. All I got was people getting ready to get on the Magic Kingdom bus for the day, looking at me like, dude, that guy's all sweaty and he needs a shower. That's all I got.
But regarding Saratoga, so I'm going to ask you a question about it too here in a minute. But you know, we're DVC members. It's never our first choice, or at least it wasn't our first choice for many years. But they've been doing, and we stayed there once before they started doing the renovation. But the renovation is, I'm afraid to even say it because I don't want people like booking here all the time. But it is awesome.
It is.
I love what they've done there. The artwork is beautiful. I'm a sucker for like the Murphy beds. You know, like Riviera has it too. It's just as someone that has a 14-year-old that has to sleep on a sofa sleeper when we do these, she just loves the Murphy bed. It's way more comfortable than pulling out the sofa sleeper. And then I'll be honest, like we're really bad with the sofa sleeper where we make the bed once and we never like put it back. You know, it just like sits out there the whole trip. But with the Murphy bed, boom, you just pull it right up and like then you have all this extra room. So we love it. The grounds are beautiful. I'm a big golfer, so I love having like a golf course view, seeing golfers out there. There's 4 pools, Mike, and 3 of them have food. Like you can go to 3 pools and have food, you know, which is really good food. Like they have one of the best salads at one of the, I think it's not the grandstand,
the paddock,
not the main pool. Oh my God, I can't think of it. It's the paddock. Yeah, the paddock has like this awesome salad, awesome bar. So it's just the pools are so great at Saratoga, and the grounds are beautiful. Just can't hype it enough, Mike. And I was afraid of it for years. But what did you think? You hung out in the villa a little bit. What did you think of the room?
And this thing is like, you know, real quick story. We got there. We were, you know, it was getting ready to storm. This was the day that we were planning to have the podcast meetup. And we do apologize one last time that we did not have the mini golf meetup, but we had to call it because there were severe storms in the forecast exactly for the time we were going to be over at Fantasia Gardens. And it happened. I mean, so we went back, we got out of the parks. We went back to the villa, Scott's Villa at Saratoga. And we played cribbage. You taught me how to play cribbage.
Yeah, we played cribbage. Yep.
So we just hung out. And before we even did that, we kind of sat on the patio and watched the storm because we had a little overhang. And again, this was in the very beginning of April, end of March. And so I hadn't seen a thunderstorm since last fall, you know, because it's been cold back home. We haven't had any. So it was just nice to watch a Florida thunderstorm, you know, the palm trees swaying and the lightning and the thunder and it just the smell of a thunderstorm. I love that. And it does. I mean, you know, and I'm not trying to be like a Disney Homer here, but they call it home away from home. That's how they used to market DVC. Right. And it did kind of feel homey.
And that's what I was going to say. Homey. You hit the word right from me. I was like, didn't you feel like you were at home when we were playing that game? So here's the scenario. Here's the situation. Me, Mike, and Elizabeth are at the table. We have our sodas from the refrigerator. Like I might have even made a bagel. I can't remember, but we're comfortable sitting around this table. Emily is like on the couch / Murphy bed, just listening to music or drawing or whatever. We have Beth taking a nap. Like we have all this stuff happening in this room, and
you're doing laundry, I think too.
Yeah, we're doing laundry, and you're so spread out. Like, and it's just peaceful. It's just I love the 1-bedrooms. I love the villas. They're so comfortable. I know they're costly, right? But if you have it in the budget and you have the right size group, like I think you can get a lot of value from them.
And just a quick reminder that you don't have to be DVC to book these. We can help those at the Magic for Less too. I mean, honestly, I'm just saying that because for years and years, I never looked at Old Key West or any of the DVC resorts because I was under the wrong impression that DVC meant only DVC. And so if you ever want to go to Walt Disney World, you can book in those cash just like anywhere else. Just the availability goes to DVC first, but there is always availability. I mean, for most dates in all these categories. So just, if you want to give it a shot sometime.
Mike, I got something interesting that I wanted to share too before we get too ahead. So it's kind of like how we started the trip. So we talked about, we stayed at Pop to start, then we moved to Saratoga. But how did we get to Pop? How did we get to Florida? So I just wanted a quick talk about how we got down there. So normally we're from Michigan. We fly out of Detroit Metro, which is about an hour and a half from our home. And the spring break airfare was through the roof for flying Delta. We're talking like $1,200 a person round trip. So, for a family of 3, luckily it's only 3 of us, but that still would have been, $3,500 just to fly to Florida.
It's crazy.
So I started looking at we started thinking about driving. We never drove to Florida. We said, we're going to be down there 10 days. That could be fun, right? Gas prices are through the roof though, but yeah, let's do it. And then we're like, nah, let's look at nearby airports. Let's look at Indianapolis. Let's look at, Columbus, Cleveland.
Chicago, probably.
Chicago was one we looked at. All the airfare is still through the roof. I looked at Southwest. I looked at Delta. I looked at, just those two, because those are mainly the two I fly. And then on a whim, I was like, we've driven to Pittsburgh multiple times to see the Foresters. We know that drive. Let's see what Pittsburgh looks like. Ding, ding, ding. We had our winner. Like direct flights. We had some Southwest points, but I think it was like $600 total with some of our points. Even without the points, it was going to be the clear winner. So we drove 5 hours to Pittsburgh the night before to save. I think it ended up saving us $2,500, which the end, like you're talking about a Disney trip, 10 days. I mean, that's a huge amount of savings. So totally worth it.
But on the back end, it had to be a little bit rough.
The back end was a little rough because like the front end, right? You're like all happy, like, yeah, we're going down for 10 days.
How'd my car end up in Pittsburgh?
there was a family story, like not necessarily a blow up, but like we come back to the hotel. That's where we parked our car. And there's like this, I need to get gas. And there's like a Sheetz gas station. I don't know if you heard of Sheetz before, but
be careful when you say that. I know.
It's easy. But on many of our drives to Pittsburgh through Ohio and all that, we've seen a lot of their gas trucks around. So oh yeah, we got to go here. And so I'm pumping the gas, and Elizabeth is like, oh my God, they have a drive-through for like, you can get food here, or like you can get shakes and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I just want to get on the road, but if you guys really want to shake, fine, we'll get this shake.
Well, Scotty G turned down a shake? Are you kidding me?
I know. This is because I'm just thinking, like, I got a 5-hour drive. I just want to start getting home,
That's why you have a shake. You have a 5-hour drive. Oh, my God.
So we get up there, and I'm like, hello? Like, it was so awkward, like, because I'm like, I'm in a gas station drive-through. Like, what is this? So I'm so confused. And then I'm like, hey, can I order some shakes? This is how I started. So I'm like kind of socially awkward with this guy at this moment. And he's not digging me either. He's like, no, man, you got to order in the app. But don't worry about that. Just drive ahead. I'll take your order. So then I'm asking them what all the shake combos, because the girls don't know what they want. Like, I mean, it ends up taking like 20 minutes to get these shakes because they didn't know how to make them either. It was like when I was back at Pop Century when they made the King shake for me. Like, I poked my head out the car door window and put it in. Like, hey, you guys need some help back there?
Exactly. You got the bacon?
Yeah. So it didn't start off right. So that got me a little on tilt, like, man, we just wasted 20 minutes to get these shakes. Like, but it was fine. We had a good drive. The Ohio Turnpike is kind of boring, but I kept telling myself, and I told Elizabeth too, like, just remember, Liz, this is our $2,500 drive home. Just think, we just saved $2,500. We're saving $500 an hour by doing this.
Well, if you lose 20 minutes at the beginning, you just got to keep the hammer down and nobody pees till you get to the house.
But,
I mean, that's how it is.
But why I wanted to say this, a lot of people reached out to me on social media because they saw I was doing this, asking me, like, how was Pittsburgh Airport? Like, a lot of people from Ohio were like, hey, we go there sometimes too. And like, like, I feel like I can navigate airports pretty well, but I usually only go to the same two, like MCO and Detroit. Obviously, I've been to LAX a few times too, but so it was a new airport to us, easy to navigate, signs everywhere. It was super clean. It was super, super great. So If you're in the Pittsburgh area, it was a good airport to get a direct flight to MCO from Southwest.
Okay, so I want to hit a couple things. So you got me one day with the picture you sent me. I was eating lunch and you sent me because you would send me random pictures and like, I'd be like, okay,
that's what friends do, right? I'm sure you'll be doing that to me right now while you're down there. So
yeah, totally
payback.
But I saw this picture and I'm like, God, is he at Caribbean Beach? Because it looks beachy. Like I was like, it does look like Caribbean Beach, but I can't exactly tell what part of the resort. Then I'm like, no, maybe it's the Polynesian. I couldn't tell. Maybe it's Old Key West. And I was like, it still doesn't. Nothing was clicking. And so finally, I cheated and I looked on Find My Friends. You were off property. You guys were playing some putt. Yep. So when you're there that long, like what was something, maybe one or two things you did like that to kind of fill in that you wouldn't do when you're down there on a short trip?
Right. So that was like the day we were homeless, right? That's what we like to call it, like when you're switching resorts. So, and obviously, you can go to, you pack, if you're fortunate enough to have a car, which for a 10-day trip, we want to rent a car. So, you can pack up and then you can drive to a park or whatever and like wait till you get the check-in. But for us, we're like, we're going to want to buy some groceries because we're going to the 1-bedroom villa. We're going to want some soda, some bagels, bacon, eggs, whatever, So like, we're going to want to make a grocery trip. So why don't we just do something off property? Like the Gardeners love mini golf.
Yep.
So like, and there was it a Pirates Cove? I think it was a Pirates Cove, which like originated from Traverse City, Michigan. So it's like a chain of mini golf courses. And we're like, there's a Pirates Cove. Like we got to go check that out. So we put it in the map, drove the Pirates Cove, and it was a beautiful day. Like we had the course to ourselves basically. So that was a lot of fun. And it was, I've heard about this too. Like I'm sure you've heard about it. Like the Fun Center. Isn't that like a thing? Like in
the Fun Spot?
The fun spot. That's what it is. So it was right across from the Fun Spot.
I've seen ads for it and everything. Yeah.
So we were right there. So like I'm seeing like this kind of scary looking roller coaster. Scary as in like it's old and rickety.
Right. I've seen the ads with the roller coaster.
Yeah. I saw a dude do like a ripcord, like bungee jump kind of thing. So like it was kind of entertaining while we were playing golf. So
just watching people do. And I know they've had that tragedy down there in the last little bit, and so that stuff's probably done. But even before that, like you just saying that, I have sweaty palms because even at our local Six Flags, they have a thing called like Dragon's Wing or something. And it's that thing, right? It's they take you up on the, between like an arch and then they drop you and like, no,
that's not my scene. I even asked Emily, who's got some Daredevil in her. She's like, nah, because I was like jokingly saying like, hey, we should go across the street after this so you can do that. Yeah. And she was like, no. So, so I'm a Disney guy. I love being in that Disney bubble. Right. But it is fun to kind of venture off because there's plenty to do in Orlando and like, mini golf, I feel like is a really safe thing to do. Like, even if you don't know where you're heading, like, or know the neighborhoods very well, like in the middle of the day, like early in the morning, like that, it was 100% fine. So, if you have a car, I would try to venture off every now and then. It got us a little break in the middle of the trip to do something different.
Did you get any 3 for $10 t-shirts, Disney t-shirts?
No, or like $40 park tickets? Like, I don't even know like how you can even advertise that.
Did you go to the Character Warehouse?
We drove by. I talked to Elizabeth about it. Like, I'm not stepping foot in there.
Please don't go. Please don't go. Well, the last thing, I bet you did. Did you get a pub sub? Did you
I did not get a pub sub.
Dude, you had a car and you were off property. You didn't get a pub sub. That was one of the greatest things I've ever had.
Ended up.
Oh, that was
because there was a Target like right by. Like we ended up getting our groceries at Target instead.
Oh, okay, I'll say, man,
save 5% on the red card is what we did.
I would pay 50% more to have another pub sub. It was that good.
Yeah,
we ate that sucker in the parking lot. Like
we tailgated.
The birds were circling because they knew we were going to drop chicken strips on the floor.
And poor Elizabeth just has to go roll around with our like that's going to happen next marathon weekend because Emily won't be there. So poor Elizabeth has to put up with us.
They're gonna have pub subs. So good. Okay, so back to Walt Disney World. Now we got to talk dining because you ate well. Yeah. One of the places and I want to make sure we get this out there because I bet you 50% of our listeners either don't know this place exists or they've forgotten that it exists. And it's Turf Club. Speaking of Saratoga Springs, you were raving about this meal, and this is a forgotten table service restaurant.
It's a forgotten place for sure. And like, if you like golf, it's an awesome place. So it's at Saratoga, obviously. But it looks over the first hole of the golf course. Because it's like attached to the clubhouse basically at Lake Buena Vista. So we were just, our server situated us right by the window, so we're looking out on the golf course. It was starting to get a little rainy and cloudy while we were having it, because you were giving me weather forecast. Like, I don't know if your 5K is going to go off tonight, man. Like, you were making me nervous during like dinner.
I was watching the radar as being the the amateur meteorologist. And I'm like, man, it's going to be close. That thing is going to be really close. I was trying to let you know.
Yep. But yeah. So the charcuterie board was actually like the highlight for me. But they have some really unique drinks, like the Win Place show. They're like kind of themed to like horse themes. I should have done some horse betting while I was in there, Mike. That was a fail on my part.
Yeah, absolutely missed
out. I wasn't Olivia, so
yeah,
but yeah, so it's a hidden gem for sure, and it's usually one you can get. And part of the reason I wanted to book it, obviously, we were at Saratoga, but it's one that recently just opened too. I think it had only been open for like a week or two.
Yeah, I think
at the time we dined there. But yeah, I mean. The decorating is kind of old school, it can maybe use some touches, but I think that's kind of what they're going for with the decor. I ended up having like a lamb dish, so they have like a pretty big range on the menu. But yeah, we enjoyed it. Definitely would do it again. I don't know if I would necessarily go out of my way, because if I'm going to go that far, I'm probably going to eat at Disney Springs most likely.
I think that's what the problem is. It's so close to Disney Springs. People are like, if I'm going to go all the way to Saratoga, I'm just going to go across the bridge. And there's 15.
But if you're staying at the resort, and you can definitely have resort days here with the number of pools and like the activity center that they have and it's not just DVC members. Anyone that's staying at the resort can use those activity centers. And you just want to chill at the resort and have a good dinner at Surf Club. Highly recommend it. We did try Space 220 for the first time too on this trip.
That's what I want to ask you about, because I want to get your take. I've given mine many times, and a lot of people have come on and talked about it. But what'd you think?
I wasn't 100% impressed by it.
Right.
That's the take. It was fine. I'm trying to remember what I had. I think I had a fillet. I think that was one of the options. So it's like one of those prefixes, right? Like you have to get your appetizer, your dessert, and your entree for a set price. And I mean, it was cool. Like we were actually like right by like the window in quotes, so we're like seeing like these astronauts like flying by us. Like that was pretty cool. It felt very coral reefish to me.
Yes, I agree. Now, the more I'm distanced from it, and it was way back when it opened when I went, the more I think about it, it is coral reef. I mean, it's just it's a different theme on coral reef. It's just an updated coral.
And in coral reef, you actually see like real things.
That is true. Right?
But I mean, I'm not knocking. I mean, it's a cool experience, like how you get there, like it's a big show, right? Like how you start. And I don't want to spoil too much. I think a lot of people though that listen to this probably know or seen videos of it, but it starts with a cool thing that you do to get to the restaurant. You have a nice meal, and then you have to return to Earth, right? So there's a cool thing that happens there.
Yeah.
It was good. I just
think the thing is there's not a lot of repeatability. Like, right. I can go some places, like, for example, you're a big fan of California Grill. You can go to California Grill, and I mean, maybe I'm putting these words in your mouth, but you could probably go there almost every trip and be happy.
I do.
It's like me with Olivia's. Like I go to Olivia's every trip because it is just a place that it is consistent. It's got it feels comfortable. It's got great food. It's got great service. Right. I just love the feel of Key West. I just like the entire package. Not that I don't like that with Space 220, but it's expensive and it's an experience. But now that I've had that experience, I just, maybe in 5 years I'll want to do it again, but I just don't need to do it again right now, unless I'm bringing somebody new and I want to show it to them. I don't think it's very repeatable. I think it's but I mean, most people at Walt Disney World are probably first-time people, so that's probably
right.
why it's.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like we just wanted to do it because it's an ADR that we can never get. We're like we felt like we're like part of some exclusive club going in there, right? Because you can't get it. And I run into this with Coral Reef, to be honest, too, because I actually don't mind Coral Reef. I actually had an ADR for it this trip. I ended up canceling it for something else because I think I don't know. I think I got like a Yachtsman or something that, because that recently opened too. I was like, oh man, Yachtsman's available. Let's do that instead of Coral Reef. But I like Coral Reef too. The problem is when I'm at Epcot, like I want to be in the back of the park. I want to be in World Showcase having dinner. Like it's tough for me to have dinner in Future World. Is that weird?
That's going to change though here in the next like 2 to 3 years. I mean, because now the focus is up in I still call it Future World. I mean,
I know this is the neighborhoods. I know.
It's not World Showcase. It's the 3 neighborhoods up front, but Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like right now, everybody walks past Coral Reef. You know, like 90% of the people probably didn't even know where Coral Reef was until they kind of.
When that Moana water feature is, maybe there's going to be more
draw
to it when Guardians opens. I mean, there's already the draw of Space 220, but when Guardians opens, I mean, you got the Connections Cafe that actually may already be open at the time. I think it is actually.
I think it is.
So I mean but that's counter service, but I mean, we talked about in the live shows, man. I would love for the Odyssey to turn into some type of restaurant. Like we talked about the sports bar.
I know that's a great idea. I mean, there's a lot of great ideas that aren't happening right now. But that'd be awesome to be a sport, but not even like but I'm a sports bar. I mean, it would fit just an international sports venue with.
But Space 220 is good, but like when I just think of like Epcot, like my mind goes to like, well, I'm gonna go to Rose and Crown or Le Cellier, you know, or like even counter service, like just grab some fish and chips. Wow,
that's what I had while you were having Space 220.
And I think you won. I think you won the battle.
I'm telling you, they were good, man. I was living life that night. It was.
So speaking about this, I'm going to put you on the spot, Mr. Rollman. Okay. So we had Space 220, you had fish and chips, and then you know, like Emily had ran her first 10-mile race that day. So we wanted to watch Harmonious very badly, but we didn't want. Emily was like, "I'm not going all the way back to the park," so you kind of came up front to us, and we watched Harmonious. Not your favorite show. You've been very visible and clear about that. We watched it from the front of the house view. I mean, I know you're not going to say like I love that show now, but like, what did you think of watching it from the front?
That's good. Are you still the same? Yeah, that's good. So we watched it right there between the two stores, between the Port of Entry and whatever the other World Traveler, I think it's called. I mean, just when you're walking from Future World, I'm still going to call it Future World because I can't.
I know. It's going to be hard now too.
You know, you're walking straight, like you're looking dead at America, or you're looking dead at the big ring now. But we were in a great spot there, so it looked great from there. I could see everything. It just doesn't connect to me, like, because I don't want, and again, it's not going to, because, and this is just me. The last movie that I've seen is the last Star Wars. I've not seen a movie since the final Star Wars, since whatever the last Star Wars episode 9 was. So I haven't seen any movie since then. So there's my perspective on, I don't get the music or anything like that. I watch sports. So while the music's nice, it's not going to connect with me. And I don't know, like, what, because Illuminations I didn't have any draw to. Like, I mean, it's not like I watched some Illuminations documentary, but I loved it and I connected to that. But it had more of kind of a universal theme, I think. I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, I still think. I mean, we don't need to beat a dead horse. You and I, we talked about it during the show, like how much I love it and how much you just like it.
And it's totally fine if somebody else loves it because it's all about your background. If I had a huge movie background, I would love it. But I just, you know, if it was like themed to sports, I would love it, and 98% of the people would hate the show.
My only thing is like, I don't think you really need to know the movies because like I think the fountains are like spectacular.
They're nice.
Because like from that view, like I was seeing things I never saw happen with the fountains, so it made me appreciate it a little bit more. They were like making cool like images with the fountains, like the rose from Beauty and the Beast. I thought that was awesome, and then like the fireworks, I felt pretty awesome too. Like because we were like 360 fireworks. It felt like when we were in there, like we're like surrounded by them, which I never felt that from previous viewing. So I'll just say, like, give it a chance, try different view spots. You know, there's many different areas where you can watch the show. I think it's good, but like, again, maybe it's not meant for everyone. I know it's not meant for you. So
but do watch it from there because it was much better from there. I will say that. I told you that night. And
that's why I was curious where you landed because I know, like, I saw you. I was watching you.
I know. I'm starting to like it.
I know. That's why I had to put you on the spot.
Scott's making me kind of like this. I hate myself. No, but and one thing I did notice, though, and we talked about this because we're big nerds when it comes to Epcot, is that we noticed, and we probably guessed that probably 60 to 75% of the fireworks shells were like exact shells from Illuminations. If you watch, like, if you really knew Illuminations, a lot of those same shells were Illumination shells.
Yeah, I know. It was kind of freaky, actually. Almost.
I'm just saying, like the exact same fireworks. So, okay, so we have about 10 minutes of the max.
I know. I go so long.
No, it's because we could talk like for 5 hours. That's probably.
I have another cool thing that I don't think that gets talked about on the show. So I tell you, man, this is our big trip.
This is dangerous. I know. Seriously, we could do 5 hours. So
this is our big trip, even though I think I'm going to be booking a Disneyland trip later tonight. But
that sounds good.
But we did the dessert party for Enchantment, and so the reason we did that is because Emily. So we saw Mike on the 50th together. You know, like it was insane. We ended up getting a pretty good spot though. Honestly, like I haven't like staked out a spot for it since. Again, a lot of these trips have been run Disney, so I'm trying to be out of the parks during those fireworks shows. So like I've seen it from California Grill or whatever, or Narcoossee's or wherever, but we haven't seen it in the park since then. So I wanted to like, all right, let's be nice to Enchantment. Let's give it its respect that it deserves. Let's have Emily get a good viewing of it. So we did the dessert party, and those are expensive, as you know. But so it was really interesting because they have alcohol at it, which I totally forgot. Like, so you pre-purchased this ahead of time. So I pre-purchased it, kind of forgot about it. And like we actually rope dropped it. So it gives you like a time, but we actually showed up pretty early. So we got an awesome seat where you could see the castle, like in the terrace there. And we walk up there. I'm the first person that went to the alcohol. I don't have a problem. I promise you.
Like, I'm paying for it, man. I'm getting a drink.
But like they just had it all like poured out, like the wine, the beers. You know, it was awesome. They had Pog juice too. So like Elizabeth made her own like mimosa with the champagne and the Pog juice, which is like a nice little tip. But yeah, so I mean, it was cool. Like my only disappointment is we'd done one of those dessert parties before, and they had the egg rolls. So like we didn't have dinner that night because I thought maybe the egg rolls would be there. So, and later that night it was a deluxe resort happy extra magic hour. Like we were there till like 1 or 2 in the morning. So we ended up having Cosmic Rays later that night. Anyway, so I got my real food.
Hey, I know, but I'm telling you what though, there's something about Cosmic Rays at like midnight, dude. It just hits awesome.
So
good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll quick go to that. So yeah, the dessert party was great. You know, we got seated. You know, we
you did bring up a point to me though. We should bring this up to our listeners because you kind of skimmed over this, but it is a good point, and there's really nothing you can do about it. But it is kind of something Disney should address: is that every ticket to the dessert party costs the same, right? I mean, there's like no kids price for the dessert party.
Yeah.
Yet the ticket includes alcohol.
It's a bummer.
So there should be a kids ticket that doesn't include alcohol that is less expensive. I mean,
I agree.
That's common sense.
And there was a big group by us where they put all these tables together. I think there was like 16 to 20 of them. Half of them were kids. And I'm just thinking like, man, like I would be so frustrated with that.
Take $10 off, you know, for kids. Or
and then another thing too, they really don't advertise. Like we just know because we're Disney people, we get this stuff early, right? So like we got there early. So, and who knew? I didn't think they were going to open it up like an hour early before like whatever the event time was. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know we were like an hour before it. And we got seated right away. So we got to have more time in there. And then we could leave earlier because we had already got our desserts and get a good spot. Because that's the thing. They take you to the viewing area. And if you wait till last minute, you could still have a bad spot, you know? So my advice is get there early for the dessert party, get the desserts you want, and then have the cast member take you to the holding area so that you can still get a good spot to watch. But so that was the night where we had the extra magic hour. So I think the park closed, I can't remember, at 10 maybe. And we were like, well, we can start doing attractions now, but like we got to eat. So we went to Cosmic Rays like at 9:30, 10 o'clock. And we had the best time. We had a riot because our guy was up there, Sunny Eclipse, did the show. And I don't think we ever watched him before. And he was full of like one-liners, right? You know, like dad jokes. And I don't think I've seen Emily like crack up more like at anything at Walt Disney World in my life. Maybe she's the perfect age for it now, but she was taking video. She was quoting him like in text messages with her friends, like, "Oh, you got to hear this line he just said," you know, like, and she was just having the blast. So like Cosmic Ray at nighttime is perfect.
And that's one of those things too, when you have, because I have lots of memories of back in the day, extra magic hours at night, you know, like, I mean, we used to keep Mallory and Paige out both when they were, I mean, this was when they were younger than Emily, like when they were like 8, 9, 10, we're terrible. I mean, were we terrible parents or were we?
No, we weren't.
Awesome?
No, you were awesome parents.
Because what we would do is we would buy them, and I don't even know if they sell these things anymore either. But remember those big like sugar sticks? Like you could fill, like you put like a plastic tube into like a machine, you'd fill it up with different colors of sugar.
Yes.
And so we would just let them get one. They were like 2 feet long, and just like keep sucking on that thing all night. And then we keep them up like, you know, until we went back to Pop Century at 3 a.m. But really, when you sat down and had a meal or had an ice cream at like midnight, like you know, in the middle of summer, we had some of the best times, like and best conversations. Like,
yeah,
we are just having a good time. It's a Tuesday night in, you know, July 14th, and we're at midnight sitting in a rocking chair in Liberty Square.
Yeah, it was a highlight of our trip for sure. I mean, there was so many highlights, and like we would need like a 5-hour episode, right, to kind of talk about. I'm just trying to hit some different things that I don't think everyone talks about on the show, but that was awesome. So we're staying at Saratoga so we could do the extra magic hour. And I don't do Instagram stories very much. Like I kind of don't understand them, but like I kind of felt them that night because I was like, I'm going to post every attraction we do and timestamp it. Because like I put a poll out there earlier, like, will the gardeners make it to 1 a.m.? You know, like, you know, and Neil like was like the first person that said no. So like, oh man, I got to prove it to Neil that we can.
Done.
So every time we went on a ride, like I would take a selfie and I would timestamp it and I put it on my Instagram story. So it's kind of fun the next morning looking over it, like, man, we did like everything like that was open. Like Jungle Cruise wasn't open for, I don't know if it's normally not, or if they just closed it down earlier or whatever, but we did so much, Mike, in that 2 hours. And it was just like old times, you know, when Emily was like younger and we're just running around all over the Magic Kingdom, just having fun, you know, it felt so good for the soul. And we just felt like kids again. It was just, that was a highlight of the trip for sure.
So we're running a little long, so we got to wrap this, but we can, you know, we do the Sunday night shows. So if you have, you know, we'll talk about this in the weeks to come. And if people have questions, they can, you know, definitely ask us on a Sunday night. This Sunday night we'll have a show. Yeah. So, because I'll be back from Walt Disney World. But let me ask you this, because this is kind of unique thing. You went down for a solid week before a Run Disney weekend. Now we have done this, even before doing a Dopey, because there were, and this is going to be the case for Marathon Weekend, I believe, this coming year in 23. And we were looking at the schedule. It's going to be that way in 24.
I believe it's going to be that way. I'm hoping it's going to be that way in 24 because Emily's winter break should line up to that. But you're absolutely right. I mean, because I think the expo is like January 5th. So you could time it where you can do like a New Year's Eve trip before the race, which is what we did, right? That's what you're kind of alluding to.
Yeah. So is it, but I mean, this weekend obviously isn't a weekend like a marathon weekend where you have a third, if you're doing like a Dopey or, you know, like a, you know, longer, because the longest race, while 10 miles is a long race, I mean, it's not as long as a full marathon or a half marathon, but you still have a 5, a 10K.
You still got 3 mornings you're waking up really early.
Yeah. So you still have a lot going on once you hit the weekend. Yeah. So did you find that kind of a challenge with having, you know, but you guys didn't go super hard, but I mean, what was it like vacationing and then doing a big event at the end of the trip?
Yeah, it's kind of, because I've done that for a Princess trip before too. It's different. Like I would obviously I would do it the opposite way, right? Where you do the Run Disney weekend first and then you go have all the fun, right? So in the back of your mind, you're kind of conscious of it. Like you're like, I didn't do many training runs because the last thing I wanted to do was do a training run around Pop Century and sprain my ankle or something, you know, exactly. and then boom, I can't do the race, you know? So you're a little more cautious of stuff like that. You know, like tripping hazards, having a wheelchair run over you, which you might even do anyway on a normal Run Disney weekend.
Man down in the 50s, man down in the 50s.
Yeah. I always post that photo of like me, like caution runners.
Picture, yes, absolutely.
That was actually at Saratoga from like 2019. And I just keep reusing it all the time. But yeah, I mean it's a little different, but you just, you know, when you're getting close to the race weekend, that's the business part of the trip. I keep saying business trip, but you know, then you got to start thinking about like, well, maybe this is the last night we watch a fireworks spectacular, you know, a fireworks show so that I can start resting a little bit earlier, you know. So you got to start thinking about stuff like that. But again, with Springtime Surprise, 10 miles is a huge distance. Don't get me wrong on that. But like if it was a Dopey weekend, like I would be like really sick to my stomach thinking about like what's ahead. You know what I mean?
There's nothing fun about 26 miles. No matter how much you run, I'll promise you. It's like it makes you want to throw up every time.
But I promise you, for 2024, I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing a New Year's trip because we haven't done New Year's, Mike, at Epcot. It seems like in years.
Yeah, I know. We got to get back for that too. It's just there's nothing like it, but it's been too long.
So what we kind of do on those trips though is kind of what we did on this one, right? You just can't go hard. I mean, if it's your only trip and you're tying it to a Run Disney trip, then obviously just proceed with caution. You know, like if you want to do it late nights every night, just know you're going to have 3 or 4 mornings where you're going to be waking up super early. So just keep that in the back of your mind. But the way we toured, you know, we just pretty chill, you know, spend time at the pools. It worked out really well for us.
All right. Well, sounds like a good trip. And we will hopefully have some more adventures to talk about here shortly. And it'll be fun. Yeah. So thanks for coming on, and we'll be together.
That's what life's all about, man. It's a big adventure. You got to have fun. So
absolutely. So thanks again, Scotty, and catch you soon.
Catch you soon.
Well, so actually, where can everybody check out all your stuff?
So you can find some of these old photos from our trip from about a month ago, but I'm at EpScott on Instagram and Twitter. It's at EPSCOT. So that's where you're going to find me the most. I have Palm Trees of Disney on Instagram. I get kind of lazy sometimes with that, but every now and then you might see me throw out a beautiful palm tree, but you're mostly going to see me at EpScott.
There you go. Check them out. All right. And I'm at Be Our Guest Mike, and I'm down at Walt Disney World. I'm telling you, right now is the time to follow me because we're going to have some great coverage this week. You're not going to want to miss it. I'll be with Pam. We're doing some cool stuff. That's all I can say right now. Just be there, and we're going to be sharing some stuff, so be there. Also, don't forget, we're going to have a live show this Sunday night as well, so you can call in and speak with Scott and I, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, same places, Facebook and YouTube, and we'll post it next Thursday on the feed, as we always do. Show is always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Just swing by the magicforless.com this week if you want to head to a Disney destination. We'll take care of you from the time you fill out that free, no obligation quote form. Just mention the show, and that quote will come to us, and we'll take great, I promise you, great care of you, get you the best deal possible on a magical Disney vacation. Again, check them out over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. It's one extra click. beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. Please use it as often as you can. It really does help us out. And finally, thank you to our patrons who allow us to do this show 3 to 4 times a week and put it out all around the world. Couldn't do it without you. And our patrons get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. If you'd like to get in on that, in this show I did a couple weeks ago, it was kind of fun. I talked about unofficial elementary school games that we used to play. Things like paper football and knuckles and slaps and bombardment. Games that if you played them in 2022, if you were the teacher, you would probably go to jail if you let your students play these games right now. And our teachers just watched us play these games. I mean, bloody noses were had, bloody knuckles. There were tears every day on the playground. This is what you get with Mike in the Midwest. This is what happened on a daily basis on the playground at our church school called North County Christian School. I'm just telling you, that's what happened. That in the 80s, it was brutal. So if you want kind of shows like that, we talked about how it was growing up in the Midwest in the 80s, come on over, patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. We also have a Discord server. Come on over, join us over there. It's bit.ly.com/BOGP Discord. We got some chats going on over there. We'd love to see you there. And I think that's about it. Thanks for all the reviews on Apple Podcasts. We've gotten a lot here in April and May, and I sure appreciate those. Thanks for the kind words. And if you have a couple minutes this week and you have not, drop in Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. We'd really appreciate it. All right, we're going to get out of here, and I don't know where today. I think going to the Magic Kingdom. Yeah, sounds good.
Gonna go to Cosmic Rays, right?
Yeah, dude, Sunny Eclipse. Got to check out the dad jokes. And
yes,
they have a killer chili cheese dog, too.
My favorite one, though, he was like, my boss Ray pays me weekly, very weekly.
Oh, wait. Where is it? There it is. Nice and slow on that one, but there it is. Yeah, they have a great chili dog. So that's good that I'm flying solo today because the Mallory and Pam will be heading home, and then I'm free to do stupid stuff like that, like go have a chili cheese dog at Cosmic Rays. So anyway, we're going to get out of here. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back again on Wednesday with listener questions. Friday, we'll have another podcast. Sunday, we'll be together live. Never stops here on the Be Our Guest podcast. So until we get back together again, for Scott, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Monday. Time to get back to work or to the Magic Kingdom, and we'll see you real soon. Yep, you just missed us, Michelle. But
sorry, I went long, man. Like I lost track of the time.
Well, I knew that was going to happen. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's fun. Dude, I have a great tweet here from someone named Scott. He was like, "I am bummed I didn't think of that Twitter handle back when I joined."
Well, you should put another T on it because you only got one T. Is there?
Yeah, he could put another T on it. Yeah.
I mean, hang on, episode.
I might have that one too. I might be like, trying to monopolize all the EpScott handles.
Oh, I would totally do it. If I figured it was probably gone. That's why I figured you probably didn't have it.
I didn't have it originally. Like, so I have had that handle for at least 8 years, I think. I can't remember when I got it because that wasn't my first Twitter handle because I kept searching for it. And then finally, boom, it was available. So I jumped on it.
You know what's funny, though? Hang on. I got to say this real quick. EPISODE 2080. I love it because we didn't have any mistakes. is that there's some buses down in Orlando that say like Epcot.
Yes, Escot or something. Yes.
Dude, I always think they're you.
Yep.
I'm like,
I remember the first time I saw one, like it was tweeted at me. It was Joe Pauly from New Jersey. He was like, "Is this your bus?"
I know. Every time I see those buses, I'm like, it's Scott's bus.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Just like there's like 18 wheelers that say Pam. They're like PAM is the name of the company.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm always like, Pam, where's one of your trucks?
That's awesome.
Just like you said that 1,000 times. Like, and I'll keep saying it.
I'll keep saying it. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
All right, I got to roll because I gotta do some work before bed. But
okay. So you don't want to smoke me in the 80s music challenge tonight?
Not tonight. This weekend. You're fast. So
and I had you in that first game. Like
I lost 3 times last night to the same
really.
guy.
I just quick hit and I didn't even think like, oh yeah, that's Cruel Summer. Why did I pick whatever the other song was? Because I had every song right up to that point. Oh.
Yeah, so I lost to the same guy. He just kept coming back in because I kept trying to beat me. Beat me 3 times in a row. This guy with like a microphone. He was like bouncing, and damn, he was fast. Like he was lightning fast. And so finally, I beat him like on the 5th game. And as soon as I beat him, I quit. As soon as I beat him, I went to bed.
That's funny.
Like, you're a punk.
Yeah,
punk kid. Anyway, yeah, we'll play.
And he's probably thinking you're some punk kid.
I know. I told you was
born in the 2000s, thinks he knows his 80s.
Exactly. He's probably a punk kid quitting as soon as he beats me. He beats me one time and ducks out of here. Yeah, we'll play this weekend though.
Yeah. All right.
I'll text you in the morning.
All right. Sounds good. See you.
I'll see you. Tell everybody we said hey. All right. See, he just took